Hello and welcome to another episode of the Instinctive Flying Method by Auggie. I'm Auggie, your host, and this will be episode 5 of the series. And starting on this episode, I'm going to always do something that as a first thing before the episode, which is I'm going to reply to feedback that I get from the previous episode. In this case, we have the previous episode was the one about pirouetting flying, and there's a couple of things that people were discussing online, and I want to clarify a couple of things that people were assuming. The first one is when we were doing the training with the method, we started with a single pull on the elevator, and that okay, I'm setting it up like that. Okay, so that is intended as a first phase of two phases. The first is to learn the synchronization, as well as using the Auggie's ring here, okay, to get used to selecting an edge for the location where you're going to be applying that. So let me first make sure that it's good. Right, so we have no, actually it's the other way. So let me switch the slot side view configuration, and then instead of using the slotted number 2, we're going to use the number 1. Okay, all right, that's perfect. So now we're good. So in the previous method we had this which was to teach you how to do synchronization of your application of the elevator pull to start learning how to do piro flipping and piro flying. Now notice that this slot is actually simply a way for you to learn what edge of the disc it's supposed to be the one you're going to be using. So I don't know, I'm not sure if I did it on the episode, but you're supposed to, after a while, start to decrease the solid and make it more transparent until you are at a point, like look at this in this case, right, where it's more and more transparent. So you're working towards starting to look at the edge of the disc, and because you already have in your muscle memories the reaction to apply this synchronization point to your chosen side of the disc. And when I say chosen side of the disc, this is what I mean. Okay, if you choose, let's say, this side here, we're talking about the disc, you know? So if you choose this side of the disc, then when you are flipping during the piro flip, you have to follow, and in this exact location is when people get confused, because you have to keep in mind that it was in the back side. Otherwise you could switch to the front side without realizing it. So the idea is to use the ring with a slot to learn to follow the edge of the disc. But obviously there will be a point where you are going to stop using the ring, because the whole idea is for you to not need it, right? So I'm going to turn it off, and then you mentally have the same imaginary ring in your head, and you're following it by simply choosing a side of the disc to follow that. So that was the first clarification. So keep in mind the idea of the ring with a slot is so you get used to choosing a side of the disc, of the rotor disc. But when you're flying, you don't have a ring. You are going to be using the rotor disc itself as the one that you're going to choose and fly. Okay, that was the first part. Second part that people were concerned was many of people. I found that surprising. Many people were not paying attention to the complete video, and they thought that the piro flip was just going to be done by doing this without any steering. And if you complete the video, you will notice that the second part of learning it is once we have the timing, you're going to start doing the steering and use the timing to be exactly at the bottom of the stick on your cyclic at the point that we chose the edge of the disc that we chose, right? Now people wonder, well, what about the rest of the steering motion? Well, that will be the third part. The third part is you are going to learn, and this is something that is very important to understand. You're not learning this to learn orientations. It's the purpose of this method is to have your body fly naturally and not you thinking whether you have to know when it's happening, whether you are, let's say, on this part of this part or this part of this part of this part of your stick, right? Because what happens is that as you practice more and more, your body finds and gets used to all the locations and learns to apply whatever you need to do the movement that you want. Okay, whether you're doing a hurricane, a pirouetting hurricane, whether you're doing a piro flip, whether you're doing a loop and that is sideways, it doesn't matter what it is. Your body will learn, and you will not know consciously how, but your body will know which way to pull, or if you need to react quickly or something, the body will know it. You don't have to worry about it. So practice is what will make it possible for you to have complete mastery of the whole circle of the steering. And again, this is not for you to learn orientations like on this side or that side or that side. No, we didn't learn the bottom as an orientation. This is simply a synchronization point that you use to get form muscle memories, so that you transition then to the steering, and the bottom side, your muscles, when they feel that the bottom side is being applied, the pulling of the elevator, immediately your body knows that you are applying or pushing the disc at that location that you chose as the edge of the disc that you chose. Okay, so that is the way it works. So those three things are I wanted to clarify so people understand that. So if you haven't seen the full video, you will see how Daniel, the kid in the video, starts by doing that, in one weekend, and then during the and I teach him the steering motion at the beginning of that week. No, I'm sorry, the other Friday. So he learned how to move the stick in a steering motion, and right now he is just simply flying around with the steering. He's not using the pulling method anymore. He's simply flying with the steering of the stick for all the pirouetting maneuvers. So that's the first part. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that that was understood. So let's get into the next part, which is this episode. This episode is the episode dedicated to beginners. But not only beginners, because even if you are a person that has enough knowledge to be flying around and doing things like nosing, hovering, and things like that, this might actually help you have better control and more natural and instinctive control of it. So, like I explained on the beginning of the series, the instinctive flying method relies on not learning conscious orientations, conscious movements, or anything alike, but using the method that our body is evolved to learn abilities such as walking or any kind of ability like that. So in this episode, we're going to use another one of those techniques that I call temporary crutches. A temporary crutch is a technique that will allow you to react without thinking, and this is very important. Without thinking, what you're doing, you simply react. And I always say monkey see, monkey do, meaning you just trust the method, trust that what you're going to be doing is what the body needs to feel and perform to get these muscle memories recorded, and disconnect your conscious mind from the control of the helicopter. So, and it's always a thing of perception, right? So let's start with this, right? So why am I going to do this using nosing, hovering? Well, very simple, because tail in hovering is simply, if you pull the heli, does exactly the same thing that you're doing, right? Right, left, forward, back. So it is not really something that requires you to understand, or to it is very intuitive to have the same response as a stick. So things change when it is nosing. Why? Because everything is reversed, so it's not something that is instinctive for you to control. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to lower this so we can look at it. We go to no collective training. We're going to go to the lowest, which would be 1 meter here. Okay, continue training. Because we want to have the heli in an orientation here that simulates what we're trying to learn, which is nosing, hovering. And you'll see why this is an important thing to learn, because it not only applies to this. So nosing, hovering in the instinctive method is simply following this very simple rule, and believe me, it's nothing more complicated than this. When you have your helicopter looking at you, you have the disc here, right? And the helicopter, let's say it does something like that, right? When you look at the helicopter, you notice that this side of the disc is down, right? The bottom side, okay, or the near side of the disc. Now, to hover nosing instinctively, you simply have to use the stick and move it towards the same location that you need to raise the downside. In other words, in this case we have this side here close to us, right? Then what we do is we take this one and move it close to us. Let's do it. Close to us fixes the problem. Let's say the helicopter is like this, right? What side is down? Back and a little bit to the left. So that's what we're going to do. Back and a little bit to the left. If it's this side, then hit the left side. If it's the right side, hit the right side. If it's the front side, pull again. Okay. If it's the back side, push, pull, left. Here you go right. Here you go left. Here you go like that, right? So look at what happens. I'm gonna go in an angle. See that? Because I simply choose whatever side of the disc, okay, I have. See that angle over there? So I'm going to go diagonally. See? That's how I was able to control it. Now, one of the things that you want to do when you are doing training for something like nosing hovering is do not try to get inside the helicopter. Do not try to think about anything. You simply look at a helicopter like you're looking at it right now and just notice the disc and say, oh, this side is down. You pull it. And if the far side is down, oh, that side is down. Push it. So this left side is down. Left. Oh, the right side is down. Right. It is that simple. Nothing else you need to say. So if you follow this like a monkey see, monkey do, you will have full control of the helicopter without having to think or anything like that. Why that is important? Why is this so important? Because when you look at the helicopter facing you, your body will instantly know what side of the stick to hit. You know, let's say you came out of a turn, and now you see the helicopter looking like that. Now your training on the nosing hovering tells you that you need to hit the right side to make the helicopter again. Why is that important? Because this concept actually applies to flying. Because when the helicopter is moving towards you, it actually looks like a nosing hover. So what you learn to do with the nosing hover will apply. Let's say the helicopter is coming towards you, and then let's say you were doing a turn, right? And you're flying and the heli is doing like that, and it turns around, right? And then all of a sudden you have the helicopter like this, right? And you say, oh, what should I do? And if you remember your training on the nosing hover, your body will immediately go like, oops, that, and pull it. Why? Because it will understand this as a right side of the disc down, so you hit the right side, and the front side of the disc, so you hit that side too, the front side. So this actually works for flying. Like I was saying before, it is something that applies if you're coming and you're saying, okay, I'm going to do a turn, and the turn now comes like this, and then all of a sudden you have your helicopter coming towards you. You immediately know again left and towards me. And now you have your helicopter leveled. So this exercise about nosing hovering actually works for regular flying, and that's why it's important to practice it over and over. So in this case, you have to so in order for the practice to be useful for you, you need to move the stick, do crazy stuff like that, and then you go like, okay, I need to go pull and left, right? And by doing that, you regain control of the helicopter. Now, for this kind of learning, you might want to use the flight mode and configuration the flight mode. Like for instance, over here, this is a full 3D crazy flight mode. It has 0 expo, this is in that, and that is good for somebody that is already proficient with that. But if you're a beginner, in this case, I do recommend that you use a softened setup. Have an expo like that, the dual rate be slow like that, because it will have a slower response that will give you time to respond correctly. So if you look at this here, we have bank 1, 2, and 3. Those are actually the flight modes that we have here, right? Flight mode 1, 2, and 3, right? So if it's on flight mode 3, that would have, max out, everything is max out in this case, in my helicopter. Yours is probably different because the defaults are not maxed out like I have it here. So, but in order to actually learn, you need to turn off the training, collective training, right? Stop training. And now you go and do actual flying. So one thing that I'm going to helicopters like the RAW and many helicopters have a forward angled stance that makes them always take off and have a forward movement, right? So that is why when you take off in one of these helicopters, you immediately have to go and raise our side. See what I'm saying? So in other words, pay attention to the helicopter and notice the movements that it has. Okay. All right. So let's start using this practice, right? So left, right, forward, back. So we're gonna raise this side, and now raise the back side, raise this side, back side. I'm sorry, front side, and so forth and so on. You can try to first do this movement that I'm doing. Don't worry too much about the height, okay? Because in this is the idea of this first part is to learn to react to the disk itself. Once you do that, okay, then you start getting more precise. Like okay, I want to keep it in one spot, so you're going to have to work on the collective and moving more precise all the controls to keep it in one spot. Also, this is going to teach you something that is interesting, and it takes some time. That you can do a correction, right, and an overcorrection and go back to zero to stop it. In other words, if I'm going this way, I can do hard here and then come back to prevent my correction to be overdoing it, but it will immediately create movement that will stop the if the helicopter is going in a way that you don't want it to go. So here, for instance, so the same way that we were thinking about, keeping the heli stable by simply hitting the side that you want to raise, is the same the same way you actually make it move. So if I want to move it to the left, I just hit the right side, let it start moving, and then correct and move the left side, and the back side to bring it towards me, and then now the front side to stop it. And now when it stops, I go back to zero. And this is an interesting concept, right? So if you're moving like that, the moment you stop, that's when you go back to zero, because you don't want to overcorrect. In other words, let's say we're coming this way, right? And I go like that. The moment stop, that's when you correct it. Okay, that's when you go back to zero. So it is not continuing to apply the correction that you're trying to do. So again, monkey see, monkey do, and you will get to a point that you will not be even thinking about it. Your fingers are going to be doing all these corrections, and then you're going to be able to concentrate on all the things, and not on how to keep it in one spot or anything like that. Okay, and again, this is done easier if you use the flight modes that have less of a response. So notice now how over here in bank 1, I'm going to go to bank 3. Bank 3 is going to make it much more difficult to do that, because I barely move it, and see how is correcting. This setup is for crazy 3D, so these very small stick movements are a little bit too much for trying to do a nosing hover, a stable nosing hover, and that's why I was telling you guys to pay attention to the flight mode and set it up for easy learning. Now, if you are an experienced pilot, like I'm doing right now, even at that setting, I can easily get the heli under control, because I know that I have to move very little, But if you look at the speed that thing can move on that setting, it's very fast, So this kind of rate, rotation rate, is way too fast for learning. But the same principle apply: left, right, back, forth, and so on. So okay. So something we're gonna do now is look at this. So we're flying around, and we can do a turn, and now we have this heli facing us now, right and forward to us, and now you have a way to know what to do when the heli makes a turn and comes towards you, because the same technique that we used before. Look at that, right and pull, perfect. So we're gonna do another turn. Now we're gonna pull and left, for instance, if I want to go that way. Okay, and one more time. Let's say we're doing a steep right here. I go, okay, right side, and now it's flying horizontal. Same here again. Now it's right and up. There you go. See. So if I want to turn to the right, normally when it's going away, it's easy because we're doing it but notice that I'm like left, right, rest. See. Even though I'm flying it, right, left, see. I'm using the same principle to know exactly what a stick to apply. See, I pull, I go right, see, and that way I can use it for right, left, pull. See, it's the same principle being used one more time, like, see. And so that practice of learning how to do nosing hover is actually very useful to understand the flying of the helicopter. So when it's coming towards you, it's the monkey see, monkey do of what side is down, and you pull it up. And when it's going away, it simply just follows the stick. So now you know how to go forward and how to come back, and have it all under control at all times. Left 5, oops. So we do a turn right. See, I want to gain speed, so we do a turn. No, that's inverted. Sorry. I'm so used to flying inverted. So again, so going away, right, left, up, down. See, but coming towards you is right, up. See, this side now. So we do another turn this way, and now we are coming towards us. Now left, go up a little bit. So we go around like this, right? And again, right and up. Okay, so that exercise is very useful. The nosing, hovering, monkey see, monkey do crutch will make your body automatically, without even thinking. See, like right now I'm gonna pull towards us. See, and now the right side. See, so I need more speed, so I'm gonna push it down. See. And now I'm going to turn, come back, and see that. So left and towards us again. So that's what it is. Okay. So let's reset the helicopter, because now we have been using the perception of a front-facing helicopter to get used to moving it and doing that. So guess what happens? Now your body is going to start perceiving it like that. And look what's going to happen now. Look. Oh my God, they're flying backwards. I'm going to raise the right side. Okay, I'm going to use the far stick. Okay, and now this is flying like a regular helicopter, right? And now, I'm facing the helicopter. Let's raise the left side. Push the stick, right, and all of a sudden, see, now it follows the stick perfectly, because you're seeing it from the tail. And the same thing with going back and forth. Whenever you have the heli facing you, now you're perceiving it as a nosing hover. So now all of a sudden you know how to fly backwards, just because you learn to perceive the helicopter that way. See, I'm going to raise that, I'm going to push the back side. See, and now it's facing the tail towards us, so now it just follows the stick. See, going backwards, and now I'm going to raise the right side. Well, let's do the other side, right? And then do the turn this other way, and now it's coming towards us with the tail, so it's easy to follow, right? Now again, it's going to face us, now the nose. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, And now we're flying backwards. Why? Because we train our brains to perceive the helicopter in a way that now it allows you to, in any situation, know what to do without thinking. I'm going to raise the left side, I'm going to push, and now we have the helicopter coming towards us. And we can go and do it pretty fast too. We can go right, push hard, okay, bring it back. Now the same thing, push hard and come back. See, now we are not afraid to fly backwards because we always know right, left, back. See, so right, push. See, now it's coming towards us. So it's very, very simple now, because this way is natural, and this way we just made it also natural. See, that's the way it is. So perceiving a helicopter when it's coming towards you, if you learn how to do this nose in hover using this technique, your body immediately will perceive it correctly and allow you to do the correct inputs, because it is simply a reflex now. It sees a front helicopter and it knows exactly what to do, and you don't have to think. You will not be confused because you don't have to think about anything. Right side, push. See, I'm using the same technique that we were using for the nose in hover. Now I'm gonna do a turn this way. See, now it's following my stick because it's the tail. Now the front again. Let's do this side now. Okay, and now it's coming this way, and so forth and so on. Push this way, make. See that? It's pretty cool stuff. And now push it now. And push it. See, it's just, now you're not afraid to do stuff because you perceive it correctly when it's like this, because it's tail in, and this way too, because it is now a normal and easy to respond perception. See? And again, because it's right side up all the time, no matter what it's doing, I'm always controlling the far side. That's why I don't have a problem confusing the tail either, because I want to move the tail to the left, I move it to the left, because that's the one that is on the far side. Now the far side is the nose, right? So what if I want to move it to the right? I move it this way or this way. See? So you slowly start making what do you call muscle memories, and your body gets used to it and simply automatically does it for you. You never get confused. See? That simple. So you thought you were going to only learn nose and hover. Turns out you learn how to fly around when the helicopter is facing you, whether it's this way, regular flying, or backward flying. Now we have the same situation here. See, raise the right side, and if you go backwards like that, it's the same situation. See, it is now you're no longer afraid to present your front side to you, whether it's flying backwards or flying normal, forward. Okay, so that's it. So now you see why these stupid little exercises turn out to be extremely useful, because now it starts translating into a lot of maneuvers, and you will notice that once you get used to that, you will never ever get disoriented again when the helicopter, because you can perceive it one way or the other, whether it's the tail towards you or the nose, and so forth and so on. So this is the episode about perception of a front-facing helicopter. That turns out, like all the other episodes that I was talking about before, It's not actually, my approach is not to teach a certain maneuver, but to teach perceptions, because then they apply to all kind of maneuvers, like you're seeing, right? Hovering, flying forward, flying backwards, doing all kind of stuff like that. I can tell that I don't fly right side up much, because it's it's an unfamiliar thing to me to be flying right side up. So I guess I'm gonna have to practice a little bit on that, because I have forgotten a little bit of how to do this more in a more controlled way. Again, same thing. Okay. If you notice the sticks, it's always, raise that side that is folding, push it, and so forth and so on. You can do another, like a little backwards funnel or something like that. And there you go. So this is the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys practice this. And if you were not a beginner but a seasoned pilot, maybe changing your perception of the way you fly using this approach may actually make it more of an enjoyable experience. Flying and being more secure as to what inputs you are applying to the helicopter. So, alright, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Let me reset this, and let me know in the comments below, in the case of YouTube, and also the comments on the Facebook, on the RC Heli Hangout. Again, the one that has about 5,000 members. And join. And if you say, for instance, how did you learn about it, just put in the recent Auggie's instinctive flying technique, and that will tell the admins that you are into the hobby, you're involved in the hobby, and they'll very likely approve you. Also, don't forget to click on the admins, accept admins rules, because even if you reply everything correctly, you will not be approved if you don't click on the accept and agree to the rules. So don't forget about that. So answer the 3 questions, click on that, and then you can become a member. It's a very welcoming group. And also on the YouTube channel, don't forget YouTube, Auggie Copter. Do the search on YouTube and you can find it. Alright, so happy flying and enjoy yourselves, and hope this one helped you guys. Okay, bye bye.